Hello, my name's Emily and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to talk about piano lessons in the basics form. So first you need to do three things. You have to make sure that you have your hand positions, posture. Also you need to make sure that you are getting your books and making sure that you have the fundamental piano. So before we start, you need to learn how to sit by the piano and what kind of pianos you need to get. So the first thing you need to do is get a piano. When you get the piano, make sure it has 88 keys and that it has pedals, at least one pedal or 3 pedals if you can. After that, make sure that the keys are weighted and they have dynamics. Next, you need your books. You have to make sure that you have the right book for yourself for your learning. If you are a very young person, I recommend the Little Mozart series or the Piano Adventure series. If you're a little bit older, like around 8 to 9, maybe around 10, you can do something like the Bastian book series. Alright, now you got the books. What are you going to do next? You're going to learn the posture. So when you sit by the piano, this is what you have to do. Make sure your distance from the bench to the piano, it is comfortable. You're not stretching out like this or getting really close like this. You gotta be right in the middle where this makes a circle. Your elbows are slightly bent and it makes a little bit like a hoop shape. Afterwards, fingers are curved on the keys, like this. Not like this, like this. Not like this either. Like this, where your fingers are kind of like, let's say, a tiger paw. It's very curved. Afterwards, you must cut your nails short. It's very good hygiene to have short nails when you play piano, because you don't want them to break while you play. Also, when you're playing, make sure that you clean the keys at least once a week, especially if you play a lot. Alright, next. When you're sitting by the piano, you have to sit literally facing the piano keys and be in the middle of the piano where usually this key holder is or where this brand name is. If you're on a keyboard, sometimes you don't see that. So what you have to do is find the middle seat, which is this note here. It's easy to identify because there's 2 black keys here and there's a little note here on the left. That's the middle seat and that's where you sit by. Alright. So now you got the whole idea of how to sit by the piano. Next, let's look at the importance of basically how to identify when you're making mistakes. So when you're sitting by the piano and you notice that you're slouching and your back starts to strain, that means you have to sit back up, sit straight, and then you know that you're in the right position. When you're slouching, you'll notice that your hands start to get too close to you. That's when you know you have to go stay back and then you'll be in a good distance. Sometimes you can do this, which is different than slouching. This is keeping straight back but leaning a little bit. Sometimes people do that when they're performing to show an expression. Example is like this, playing loud. I go back. When I'm going forward, it's like soft. So that's when you go close like that, but the back stays straight. Always have a back straight. After that, make sure when you're playing, you always have to pay attention to the hand positions. So if you notice when I was playing earlier, when I was doing this, I always place my fingers right on the keys before I played it. And when you look at the notes, we'll go through that. So here's an example of some books. Here is a few books that I recommend people to use. This is for advanced pianists. Those are for those who are trying to become professionals. They use this book called Alfred Cortot. But if you're a beginner, a total beginner, I highly recommend this book. This is called the Bastian Piano Basics. This is for 8 to 9 year olds or 10 years old. This book generally covers the basics of what you need to know before playing piano. And then here is the little bit on hand positions. So you can see here, it shows the hand positions. Here is the notes that you will see in the beginner books, and it'll tell you where to place your hands. So this one shows A, B, and C. So let's look at that on the piano. So, as we have talked about earlier, this is the middle C. Middle C is where the two black keys meets this little gap where there's no keys here. And this one on the left of the two black keys is called middle C. So this is C, which is this one. Next, we got the two notes beside it, B and A. I'll teach you in the next lesson on the basic ways to identify these notes and how to remember them. But for now, we're just going to look at hand positions on the keys so you could identify where to play whenever you're using a book.